Tonight on Roughneck to Real Estate, we discuss Brian Harper's live and drives. Are they legal? Are they ethical? Do they matter? We're also going to go into owner finance, how to use it as a backstop for your business so you can take more risk. But first, a word from our sponsors. My guest tonight is Jason Witherspoon. Jason, how did we meet?
We actually met at a Propelio event last November. I bothered Ryan Harper so much in his DMs that he finally acquiesced and let me have an invite to it. And now the mastermind has become this huge thing that they do once a week, but that's where I met you, Jawad, and a lot of other people all in the same night.
Okay, so I want some people to understand this because I get hit up all the time to do mentoring. Mentoring is not a paid gig. It's not a paid gig. Coaching is a paid gig. Mentoring isn't. I consider Jason a friend, but I'm also somewhat mentoring him in real estate. So I wanted to get him up here for this first one so everybody could really understand what it means to be mentored by Corey Thompson. It's not the glamorous gig that everybody thinks it is. But with Jason, we have a really, really, really good, hardworking gentleman. He had hit me up a few different times after that, and I went to his house. I was impressed with his garage setup, with all of his organization, because I'm not an organized person. And at that point, I knew that if somebody could help me in my business, then I could help them with it. Now, from there, how many deals have we done together, Jason?
Well, I don't know, 5, 6, 7?
We've done a few deals, but one really sticks out in my mind. Our very first Granbury deal. If you're not in the group, Roughneck to Real Estate, you really need to go check it out. We're in a live seller negotiation with the pocket cam and my banana shirt.
Banana shirt's terrible.
Why don't you like my banana shirt?
It's fantastic. If you ever see the banana shirt, just know he's going to be filming something.
Listen, but here's what I want people to understand. If nobody gets anything else from my message, I want y'all to get this. You don't have to get it right the first time. You don't even have to get it right the 50th time. You're always going to be learning. On that deal there, Jason, tell them how that appointment got set. Tell them what we were doing during the appointment. Tell them what I told you up to that appointment, and tell them how confused you were when we got to that appointment.
I had it all handled. Corey Thompson was very confused. He almost ruined the whole thing. No, let's see. So that was an RVM drop we did. Do you want to go into the message?
Oh yeah, go into it.
So the message for that RVM drop, and we dropped, I don't know how many now, 40, 50,000 maybe?
Yep.
I don't even know how we'd calculate that, but the one on that one was just, hey, I got a note on my car. Somebody said you may want to sell your house. We got a lot of unhappy people with that message, but Corey heard this message and he literally said, that one's the one. I don't know how he does it still. I'm getting better at it. But sure enough, they wanted to sell and they wanted to sell bad. This house had multiple code violations. We had missed it. It had a lot of other stuff.
Look, but this is how I knew they wanted to sell. The girl got on the voicemail and said, hey, yeah, my mom has a house and we're really trying to sell it. We're just kind of storing stuff there. Call me back. And I immediately messaged Jason. I said, hey, we got to lay down, call this person, set an appointment. I want to be there with you because I want to show you how I do this seller negotiation. I'm also going to try to video it. So
the video's out there. We can link back to it at some point in the group, R2R. Oh man, it was, so he walks in with his banana shirt. We walk through the house. It's a hoarder house. There's stuff stacked chest high in some of the rooms. We know there were squirrels living in one of the bathrooms.
They chewed, I've never seen rats chew through metal, but they chewed through the faucet. They chewed through.
I don't think they chewed through it. I think it was the amount of urine that was in there because they built a nest around it. But anyways, it was disgusting at every level. I've got pictures of that. It's the worst tub I've ever seen. Corey makes his offer. He sits out there. I'm over there picking holes in the house like, hey, did you see this shit here? And he's like, none of that matters. Shut up. So he makes his offer. He's like, hey, we can't do more than 35. And she's like, cool, because
It was 40. It was 40. It was 40. I said, look, okay, so let me back up a little bit. It's a 130 ARV house. We have no idea what the comps or what the repair is going to be, and this is something that I push hard on. Do not worry about what the repairs are. You have no idea what your end buyer wants to repair it to. You don't know if he's going to rent it. You don't know if he's going to Taj Mahal it. You don't know if he's Ryan Jackson and going to way over rehab it.
Yeah, add a story.
Add a story. You know, put a petting zoo in. You have no idea what that end buyer wants to do. So don't even speculate about it. Don't even consider what they're going to do with it. Don't make that a part of your evaluation. The only thing that you can control in that situation is what you buy it for. So you need to make them think their house is as bad as possible without insulting their house. Does that make sense? And that's what the point I was trying to make with Jason.
And you did. He offered $40,000. The lady says, cool, we would have taken 30. My mom said not to talk first. She literally said that. She said, we knew we just shouldn't say anything first. And Corey's like, well, I would much rather give you 30 for it. And her husband just blurts out of nowhere. He's like, well, we could probably split the difference. I snaked that dude's hand and was shaking it and thanking him before he even knew what was happening. Like, I almost knocked Corey over. I'm like, thanks, dude. We'll take that.
So we, in a negotiation, we offer 40. We end up getting the house for 35. Okay, now, this is Jason's first deal with us. What did we pay you on that deal?
I think you paid me 10 on that one.
We paid him 10 grand. Literally held his hand the whole way, and then pay him $10,000 because we knew what a deal we had. Now, it was a straight up. I mean, I don't know if I should say this out loud a lot of times, but it was kind of a hip shot. I knew it was a 130 house. I knew if we put 30 into it, we could get out on the other side of it. But I never want to rehab anything, so I always want to use that owner finance backstop. It is the backbone of our business. We own 8 mobile home parks. We close on another one this week. We've got an apartment complex. Now we're trying to get 3 more apartment complexes closed. We're buying mobile homes, everything in the world, but we still do owner finance. We still use owner finance as a backstop in our wholesaling business, in our flip business. It's how we raise capital. It's what we use to show income. It's what we do. When I use the term backstop, what I mean is if everything else doesn't work, I know I can owner finance that for at least what I have in it, and I can draw interest on that money. Now, we do a couple of different techniques on this. We can use somebody's private money to purchase it and then wrap it, buy it from their IRA, put an amortization schedule on it, just like a regular mortgage, and then wrap that mortgage so they're growing their retirement account at a higher rate than the stock market. We can use a bank loan and do a wrap mortgage. I very rarely ever want to have my own cash sitting in a deal unless it's a little $10,000, $12,000 deal. But the idea behind owner finance, at least in my business, is equity. And what equity means is if I buy it for, in this case, $40,000 from Jason Witherspoon, I want to at least be able to owner finance it for 80. That doubles my money. That puts 40,000 in equity and 40,000 in debt on my books. Now I'm the bank, whenever they come down and they ask you for a P&L or a balance sheet or any of this stuff, you're going to hand that to them. They're going to say, oh wow, he's got a little bit of debt here for 40,000, but he's also got that much equity on his books. So you stay lendable throughout the process. It's a beautiful thing. Like it's a really, really, really good worst case scenario. Now in this situation, I had told Witherspoon, I have no idea how this is going to turn out. So I'll let him finish telling the story from the side of things of what happened after that. Because what I want you to tell him is what your opinion of the house was, what you thought it would sell for as it sat if we didn't do anything to it, both cash and owner finance.
Well, I don't know that I don't know that I had a real big opinion because I was still pretty green. I'm still green compared to a lot of people. But I know that we had an offer straight out of the box, cash, money for 70. Straight out of the box.
Straight out of the box.
Like we were using this for some of the stuff Corey does to show some other people, and I mean they hit us up in there.
But when you were in it, did you think standing in that house we could sell this for 70,000 as it sits? A 130 house.
No, I would have figured 50, 60.
And that's the point. You never let your own opinion of it, you never let that opinion drive you. you got to introduce it to the marketplace. And when I say marketplace, your other investors, MLS is the best. I don't care what anybody says, bar none. You can have the biggest buyers list in the world. You can know everybody at New Western. You can know everybody at the other big wholesale groups. The MLS is still going to be the most powerful tool to find your end buyer. Now, that being said, do you have the private capital to take it down? Do you have the ability to take it down? Do you have the ability to service the debt once you take it down? There's so many other decisions you got to make within your own personal finances to know if you can wholesale that deal, to know what it is. But if you know for a fact that you can get private money to hold that note for you, and you can get, or you can get a bank loan on it, then you can use owner finance as your backstop, and you can take that risk to wholesale that deal. If we'd have took that deal and put it on MLS, which I know for a fact, we ended up with a $90,000 cash offer on that property. Again, bought it from Jason at 40, cleaned it out. We didn't have hardly any money in it. Actually, we had no money in it. We borrowed 60 against it with our hard money lender. So we had $0 in the deal the entire time. We go get an appraisal on it. The investor that our credit partner on that, I think he ended up borrowing 75 against it, and we owner financed it as is, didn't touch it, didn't do anything, just cleaned the trash out. We owner financed it for 130 with 10,000 down. Did I know that deal was going to go exactly that way when I started? No, I had no idea. I just knew that no matter what, at $40,000, if it would appraise for 50, our bank was going to take us out completely. And I had a real good gut instinct that was going to happen, so we did that deal. Now, I want to talk about the next Granbury deal because this was an RVM lead, the mobile home, the double wide, that we went to look at. We had a posse of people with us that day because we had Molly Ladner was with us.
Darhan?
Darhan was with us. And we roll up to this guy's house 10 deep. It's a double wide out in the country. And I'm always kind of suspicious that I got warrants out. Somebody might check that for me while you're at it. But anyways, the
I think
neighbor.
It's safe to say you do.
We probably do. We all really do. Anyways, so
literally Corey walked over to me and he's like, "Hey, dude, I may have warrants. The neighbor's looking at me. Go talk to him." That's the whole conversation. So I will talk to a tree stump. That's like my best. I'm sorry, I'm looking over here.
Look at me.
You smile too nice. I will talk to a tree stump. I'm terrible on the phones. Don't put me on the phones. I'm the worst.
that is a fact.
But I'll talk to a tree stump in person. So I just went over and started talking to him. He's like, "Oh man, you just missed it. I'm gonna owner finance my house for $20,000." And Corey comes ambling over once he realized the guy wasn't calling the cops. And Corey does his thing. He looks around. He's like, "Hey, yeah, we'd probably give you 25." And the guy's like, "Yeah, in cash." And the guy's like, "Okay, I'll make the call and tell them they can't have it."
And that was it. We had I think it's a 70s model ship box for 25 cash. No idea how it's going to work out, but the way those numbers work is 25,000 is 80% of probably 32, I think is the numbers. I get out my calculator, but don't worry about it, Witherspoon. If that thing appraises for 32, I'll have $0 in it, but that's a low enough amount that I could probably get a buddy to hold it in his IRA in my worst case scenario, but we ended up paying you $5,000 for that deal right there.
Right. I sold that one to him on the way to the title company.
That's it. And so with that being said, it's a really, nobody knows how to appraise a mobile home. Nobody knows how the appraiser is going to view the mobile home. They don't know if he's going to comp it against other single family homes or whatever, but it is a 3-bed, 2-bath. So no matter what, a 3-bed, 2-bath still rents like a 3-bed, 2-bath. No matter if it's a mobile home, no matter if it's a house, no matter what. The family that needs a 3-bed, 2-bath has those needs because of kids. They have those needs because of family. They have their needs because their mother-in-law is staying with them, not because they want to live in the fancy part of town. The fancy part of town is the fancy part of town. The shitty part of town is the shitty part of town. A mobile home in a nice part of town is going to rent for the same as a house in the shitty part of town. In this instance, I think this thing would rent for around $1,000 to $1,200 a month. I'm not really sure. Didn't test the market, but that's what I feel like. So with that, I'm looking at it and I'm underwriting this deal saying my worst case scenario is I'm going to end up with maybe $40,000 in this deal. I'm going to end up renting it for $1,200 a month, 3% deal. $800 a month makes the numbers work for me. I don't mind buying this, and if it appraises for $10,000, because if I park private capital here, I can still service that debt. I can still do everything. What ended up happening was it ended up appraising for $74,000. We held that one ourselves. We borrowed $59,000 against it, used the extra capital, the extra $29,000 to pay our American Express bill, to get more marketing, to do all those sorts of things. And then we put an owner finance buyer in there and wrapped the mortgage. If anybody has any questions, because I move really fast, so please don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, well, I want to stop you for a minute, because people ask me this all the time. Everybody climbs in my DMs because he gets $1 million a day. And about 3 get through to me. So please don't get in my DMs over this. Like, because I'm going to lay it out for you. Everybody's always asking, well, how does Corey do his deals? Like, you got to look at this. But all of these houses were 30 and 40 cents on the dollar that he took down. And people say they're not there. People say those deals aren't there. They're absolutely there. I guarantee you Ryan is looking for those every day. They're there. You just may have to drive a little farther to find them. Are you going to find one in Altum City? Maybe not. You're going to have to drive a little bit. There's some shenanigans going on over here. You're going to have to drive a little bit to make this happen. With that said, the way those deals pan out it's all bought at the first. What do you, man, stop that. You're killing me. Yeah, I mean, you have to buy the equity. So the key to Corey's whole strategy is getting that thing up front. The other key is he has the ability to take these down in cash, and that opens up a wealth of avenues for him to exit these.
Well, private capital.
It is private capital, but,
yes.
but people are like, well, I don't understand how he does it. It's the fact that he's using private money to take these deals down, and then it gives him exit strategies that a guy like me who just wholesales doesn't have.
Well, and I'll touch on that, because I will tell you right now, if Witherspoon would have done our strategy on any of these, he would have made the money. He would have done everything. The trick is, do you have the money to service the debt? And how comfortable you feel about servicing that debt? So as you get this track record, as Witherspoon keeps having success after success after success, finally he'll step out and he'll ask somebody to loan him the money. And they'll say, look, why don't we partner on this first one? I'm not going to make you service any debt. He'll take it down and split it, which is kind of what we're doing with the one deal that you really didn't believe in. That
I didn't. We'll talk about that one.
I chewed his ass hard.
We should talk about my one in Godly too.
Well, tell them about the one in Godly, because that was right after the Propelio meetup. I know Jawad talked to you about it.
We talked in that room, but I didn't understand what anybody was telling me. I didn't understand what Jawad was telling me. I didn't understand what Corey was telling me, because Corey does math very quick. He may appear to not be the smartest guy in the room, but he's very sharp, and he does math much quicker than me. It's like I have a hard time keeping up with him or Ryan Jackson, a lot of these other guys that know the numbers so well. So one, don't be intimidated by that, and two, just keep going. Eventually, you'll get some of it. I bought a Mr. Bowen. I bought a house from him in Godly, Texas, and unfortunately, his wife just passed away a few weeks ago. But I bought this house for him for $44,000. I asked him. It was literally a mistake. I just said, "Hey, sir, could I finance this from you? Because I don't got any money." And he said, "Yeah. What do you want to do?" He's like, "What about $10,000 down?" I'm like, "Whoa." And he said, "Well, how about this? We do $4,000 down and 4% interest." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that." But I mean, really, kind of. I actually didn't even do that. He was shaking my hand before I could say yes. And I had to get in the car and call my wife and be like, "Hey, honey, we just bought a house." I didn't know what to do with that. I came to the meeting last November. My friend Angel Bernal had been beating me over the head. He's like, "Put it on Facebook and try to owner finance it. Wrap that thing." Mm-hmm. I didn't know what that was. I was scared to do it. I had met Corey. He called me and literally just said, "Hey, I'm coming over to your house. I want to see your setup." Never talked to Corey other than here one time. And I walked in and was like, "Hey, honey, we're having company." And Corey came over and we started doing, among other things, the bacon foreclosure.
We did the bacon foreclosure, but your wife cooked some badass sliders. Shout out to Megan Witherspoon.
She did.
That was when I could have carbs. If you got a carbless bun recipe, I want it.
You should ask her what she thinks about keto.
She hates keto. She's told me. But anyways, the point of that
Ryan's getting bored.
The point of that is Jason took that deal, introduced it to the marketplace, and you ended up making what, $3,500 on it?
No, I made $6,000 on that.
He made $6,000 on it, and it was a deal that he was worried about doing. Now, also, Godly, Texas is in the middle of, I don't even know.
Kind of, but they're dropping $500,000 houses everywhere out there.
I don't know where it is. I've never been through it. I go everywhere in Texas. I drive 10,000 miles a month, so I feel like I would have been through it, but I don't know where it's at. But owner finance works in that market. It works in Thornton, Texas. It works in Cossie, Texas. It works in Groesbeck, Texas. We've got owner finance deals in Corpus. We've got owner finance deals in Snyder, Texas now. If you Google these places, you'll see that we cover the whole state of Texas, and owner finance works in every one of them. I was just on the phone with Ryan Jackson. Ryan Jackson has a deal under contract that he's going to close on. I've already got him a buyer lined up. Everything is set up. It's just, boom, closing. And Ryan says, hey, that's far away from me. And I'm like, if you want to give this deal back to me, I'll give you back your $5,000. I'll write it to you right now because I'm picking up a $15,000 down payment. So I don't care where a owner finance deal is. You don't have to go deal with the tenants, toilets, anything. You put it on debt servicing. You collect a check every month. If you get it back and have to foreclose on it, we're foreclosing on ours in Killeen right now. You're going to get another down payment. You're going to wrap that mortgage again. You're going to start all over. It's not a property management strategy where you have to worry about having people there to do it. And all of these deals are sold on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is free. You just post it with pictures. Whitley, the female version of me, as Jason calls her, put Stabbing Cabin on an ad in the Facebook Marketplace.
It was a 1-1 stabbing cabin.
It was a 1-1 stabbing cabin, and got a $70,000 cash offer on a property we picked up for $38,000. Okay, understand this. We had no idea what that property was going to do. We had no earthly idea what it was going to do, and then we get a $70,000 cash offer after we already closed on it for $38,000. So these are the kind of deals that you would be afraid to do, because who's going to take down a 1-bedroom, 1-bath stabbing cabin on 3.5 acres in the middle of nowhere? Nobody. But we did, because we knew, hey, if that thing will appraise for $50,000 or $48,000 or whatever, we're going to get all of our money back out of it. We're going to find an owner finance buyer. We're going to double our equity on our books and whatever. And then boom, a cash buyer comes up for $70,000.
So it's important to know too that if you're going to run your first one out on the Facebook, like I sold that godly house on Facebook, you have to know there is a ton of assholes out there. They have nothing else to do.
I'm one of them.
Nothing else to do but mess with you. You're going to get just comment after comment. Next. You're going to get comment after comment. More pictures, please. And all of these people are tire kickers. But what you'll also get is somebody that climbs in there and be like, would you take this? Half of them are tire kickers, but one's not going to be.
That's right. And that's what I mean by introduce it to the marketplace. We bought it. We introduced it to the marketplace, the Facebook marketplace. Now, a quick touch on this. I feel like I've got a lot of real estate experience. The girl we hired to work in our office, Whitley, she doesn't have a lot of real estate experience. She puts these things out. She's an old car salesman. She puts these things out in the marketplace and doesn't put a price on them. We're selling a property for $5,000 an acre. She pitches it to a guy at $10,000 an acre. Check this out. At $10,000 an acre, we're offering it for $5,000. If she'd have asked me, hey, can I pitch this for $10,000 an acre? I would have told her, this thing ain't never going to sell for $10,000 an acre. Why would you? No, don't even worry about it. Just put it out at a price that it'll sell. She puts it out at $10,000 an acre, which was 14 acres, so $140,000. We'll just make the math real simple. Guy from Houston hits her up and says, hey, would y'all take $120,000 for the place? Again, we wanted $75,000 for it. $75,000 is all we wanted for this place. And she puts it out at $140,000 and gets a $120,000 offer on it, like in a day in the Facebook marketplace, okay? That is what I mean by introduce it to the market. Now, the guy hasn't seen it. It's not closed. It's not across the finish line. It's all just a bunch of bullshit until we actually get it across the line. But that's amazing. That lets us know that we're undervaluing our own properties in that situation. So that's what I'm always preaching to Jason.
And it's important to note that Whitley is as tough as woodpecker lips. Like she's tough lady. So she's willing to just run some bullshit out there, and there's a certain amount of this that you got to be willing to throw some bullshit at a wall and see what sticks.
Oh yeah, 100% of it. I mean, I almost want to say that's my entire investing strategy, but I don't want to scare off partners. But it's really not that bad. Like, so starting out from humble beginnings, starting out as a laid off roughneck, I got laid off, needed to make money, didn't understand owner finance at all. I was sitting in a $12,000 house. I know that a lot of you have heard this story. I don't know how many of you on here. Say where you're from. We got Misty K on, shout out. Chris Chavez, shout out. We got a whole bunch of people on Facebook right now.
Take the comments off.
The comments are gone. Don't worry about it. But anyways, David Jesse, thank you for that comment. I think you're watching on YouTube. I've never even been on YouTube, so this is my first time. Y'all took my YouTube cherry. Pop, I'm no longer a YouTube virgin. So anyways, all of this being said, I forgot what I was talking about. So we're just going to move on.
Well, you were just telling your story of how you started out.
Oh, yes.
$12,000 house.
I started off as a laid-off roughneck. When we bought a $12,000 house, it had dead cats in it, introduced it to the marketplace, got a $25,000 down offer. You would have think that we would have moved to a strictly owner finance strategy, but I still thought we were house flippers. It took a $20,000 loss to make me realize I'm not a house flipper, and that a wholesale strategy, which we had really good success with at the beginning too, was our best bet. But we went down the rabbit hole, and believe me, I've been as close to failure in this business as you can be. I've almost flunked out every time. I've been one refi away from bankruptcy more times than I'd like to brag about. But that's literally what this business is. The owner finance backstop is the most aggressive way that you can attack real estate, because you can go into a town that nobody else can make money in, that nobody else is marketing to. You can pick up these 20, 30, 40 cent on the dollar deals, and then you can introduce it to the marketplace and make a margin that's going to feed your family. It's going to pay your bills. It's going to do the things you needed to do while you're getting started. It's going to be that seed money for that bigger deal later on down the road.
And this doesn't just work in Cleburne, Texas, or Godley, Texas. This will work in North Dakota. This will work in Pennsylvania. If you want to make some money, wait till this next oil boom runs out and go buy everything you can in North Dakota for 20 cents on the dollar.
No lie. And
you know, I'm sorry, but it will work everywhere I've traveled. I've traveled a lot of the U.S. There is always a shitbox home in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. Oh, no doubt. And it's my favorite place, to be honestly. I want to answer some questions. I really want to bring y'all some value. So let's get some questions in. We'll answer them right after this break. Oh man, I wanted to like get Jason and me to pick our chairs up and come back and be sitting on a couch together. We couldn't pull it off. All right, so what do we got? What do we got? Questions right now? What's up, fellas? Looking good, guys. Jason or Ryan, put me up some questions. When you sell owner finance, how much interest are you normally charging? That's from Pam Douglas. Thank you, Pam, for your question. It really depends. Okay, so the owner finance strategy is not a very complicated one, but I'm about to make it sound very complicated. Okay, so you have market rent. Let's say market rent's $1,000 a month for this house that you're trying to owner finance. Would you pay $1,200 a month to become a homeowner? Okay, the answer is typically yes. Typically somebody will pay more per month than they would pay for rent to become a homeowner. If you're hitting that payment objection, if you're running up against that payment objection, you're going to have to overcome that with reminding them that they can deduct the interest on their taxes. So you spread that out. You're going to end up saving more money than you are renting just by being able to deduct the interest off their mortgage. If you have that house and you're trying to get a $1,200 a month payment, and it would only rent for $700 or $800 a month, would somebody owner finance that for that much? The answer is typically no, okay? So the way that I pick interest rate, you got interest rate and then you got the length of the loan. The length of the loan is where all the money is made. You can have an interest light loan. In other words, you can have an 8.5% interest on a 30-year AM and still make a lot of money over that time. If you start shaving the years off of that loan, and then you're cutting money, a lot of money out of your pocket, because they're paying down equity a lot faster as you take it down. If you take interest off the loan, it does affect it, but not near as much as lowering the amortization. So I typically charge between 8.5% and 10% if they're going on a 30-year loan, okay? If they're on a 20-year or a 10-year loan, I don't do it for anything less than 10% interest. There's no negotiation about it. There's no nothing. If you want to buy your house for anything less than a 30-year AM, you're paying 10% interest. We do have one 11% interest loan. Now, Grant Kemp is a great person. He understands his strategy. If you want to buy education about this, you need to reach out to him because he understands the exact terminology and what it is. But APOR, I believe, is what it's called. Comes out once a week. I believe it's on Tuesday. If you're wrapping a mortgage, you can be what I think is 8.5% above that. Maybe it's 8%. You need to reach out to Grant or an attorney to verify this. I'm not an attorney. I can't tell you. If you own it free and clear, you can only be 6% above that or 6.5%, whatever that is. So you get an extra 2% if you're wrapping a mortgage, if you have an underlying lien. This is important because you don't want to end up trying to give somebody a 12% interest loan and end up in a predatory lending situation trying to be greedy.
Usury is not good.
Usury is not good. And I don't think it's that. I don't know what it's called. I'm not a technical guy in that regard, but Grant Kemp can answer all of those questions.
So shout out to Grant Kemp and his Grant Teach Me Somethings every week. Those videos have taught me an immense amount.
Right.
I mean, they're here on Propelio. I just want to throw it out there.
Well, are you going to tell us what the law is for sure?
I am not, because I don't know.
Oh, no, I'm playing. But anyways, the point of it is if I'm lowering the amortization schedule, if I'm not giving them a 30-year loan, it's always going to be 10% interest, maybe 10.5%. But you have to know what APOR is. You have to know what that is. Disclaimer, not an attorney. Please consult a financial planner and CPA for any of that. I don't want y'all to go out here and be like, Corey fucking Thompson said I could do this, because I don't, like literally, Grant, if you need that information, Grant has great courses and information on that'll get you up to speed. I defer all that to an attorney. I don't even keep up with it. I just know that payment objection is real, okay? And sometimes you do have to lower that interest to get them into that comfortable payment that they're willing to pay, okay? That would be the only time you would do that. Or if they just gave you a huge amount of money down, if they come to you and say, hey, if I put $50,000 down, can I get a lower interest rate? Obviously, if your finances say, yes, I need that $50,000, then you would lower that interest rate to whatever it would be. But I think the lowest interest loan we have is 7%.
So as a new person, so I went to the Propelio meetup at San Antonio, the very first one they had, and I got to see Mitch Stevens speak. I didn't understand a lot of the stuff Corey was telling me. I listened to it, and Mitch Stevens opened up a bunch of my eyes there. And I still didn't understand a bunch of it. And in fact, I asked him a question in the thing. I got him to give me the mic, and he's like, no, you're kind of dumb. You don't get it. Literally told me that, and he was right. I didn't get it. So I went home, I bought his book, I started studying to understand. And the reality is, you have to understand the magic math behind the actual owner finance strategy. If you have a house that you're paying $60,000 for, and you're taking it for 4% interest from whoever you're getting it at, your private money, and you're selling it out for $70,000 and 9% interest, how much interest are you making on that?
Who knows?
Well, no, it's an important question, because what people don't understand is it seems like you're making 5% interest. You're not. You're making 5% interest on the original principal. All the wealth is created in the additional.
Well, that's all those dynamics are literally, I've got an iPhone app that calculates mortgages for me. I look at the bottom number, total amount paid. So let's say it's $300,000 on my mortgage, which is typically a $100,000 mortgage. It'll say $300,000. If I'm wrapping a 6 or 7% interest and there's decent equity there, like let's say $70,000, you know, it'll tell you exactly what that mortgage is, how much is left on that mortgage. So let's say they owe 150, you're doubling your money if you look at it over the lifespan of what it's going to be. The owner finance strategy, from that side of things, you just have to look at it a whole bunch. You'll never be great at it. You'll never be excellent at it from the top of your head unless you're just some sort of super genius. Just always check your numbers, but always understand you need to keep that interest rate in legal limits and as high as possible, but that amortization is where the money is made. Now, there are note buyers that want to buy 10% interest loans. We do that on all of our small stuff, okay? Because if you own or finance a $30,000 house for 30 years, I mean, one, there's just hardly any payment there. Anybody can afford it. Two, you know, typically I want to be able to sell those smaller mortgages. So we do those for 10 years. It's called a 10-10-10. We do it. Jason just brought up Mitch Stevens. He's actually speaking October 9th at Propelio's meetup. Shameless plug, shameless plug. If y'all want to get more information, I think he wrote a book called 1,000 Homes and Me. Or
it's How I Bought 1,000 Homes.
How I Bought 1,000 Homes. I haven't read the book yet, but
it's fantastic.
Everybody that's read it gives it great reviews. Mitch is an old school gangster. He's done, I mean, shit.
I think the last time I heard him talk, he said 1,500.
That's one for every year he's been alive. So really good there. One a year for 1,500 years. He's basically Highlander.
Most likely. And he's really funny.
That's
you
a really
should
old
come hear
joke.
him.
But you should hear him. Does anybody else have any questions? Because I want to talk about the deal that we have under contracts. Thanks for the owner finance info. You're welcome, Pam Douglas.
Chris Chavez had a question.
Do I send all my buyers to RMLO? This is a really tough question. Should you? That's David Jonathan Ho. Great last name. So, do you send all your buyers to an RMLO? That's a really tough question. Here's why. Because we just bought a house. We bought 2 houses for $7,000. Okay. Buyer comes in with $11,000 down. I don't know legally where we're at. We don't owner finance more than 5 houses a year right now in any given entity, and we don't create entities to get around it. It's just the facts. We're not heavily owner finance right now. So the law says that we don't have to do it unless we do more than 5 or more than 3. Again, Grant Kemp knows those laws. An attorney would know it. These people, they're giving us $11,000 down. We're only carrying a $7,000 balance. We feel pretty good about their ability to repay because of their job. It made perfect sense to us that we're not an RMLO. We don't need to be an RMLO to make that decision. So we owner financed it to them. I mean, literally, they're going to have it paid off by the end of the year. Now, how am I at risk? An attorney should jump in here and tell us all, because I don't really know. I haven't owner financed more than 5 this year. I haven't done more than 3 this year. It's a rolling calendar year, so it's the last 12 months. So I didn't think I needed to. But to cover your own ass, the easiest way to do that is to become an RMLO. Do not pay an RMLO, even though you can do that. Become one. If it's a one-day class, I think, I don't really know, but become one, and then your ass is covered. You don't have to worry about it. You're always doing it, because RMLOs can be very expensive. 1, 2, the protection that they actually provide, I want to say, is untested, because the way the law is written, it used to say or, now it says and in a particular part of the law. So you really have to be careful with how you negotiate that deal out in the wide ass open for the whole world to see. The RMLO is ultimately the decision maker, but then again, you're the decision maker. So are you protected? Are you not? It really depends on how you structure that deal, how the calls are taken, and what problem you're up against. 99% of the time, if you're in that bind, that RMLO receipt is great to have, but how's the litigation say it's been, are you actually protected? I don't know. We haven't tested those waters. So thanks, Mr. Ho, for the question. Consult your attorney. Please don't go off the Roughneck to real estate attorney. I don't know if this Facebook Live will stand up in court, but it might. Chris Chavez, the bot man. Do you take that equity to keep buying or pay anything off? Yes. So the way that we pull equity out of a property, I like to be around 50 to 60% leveraged to keep our books clean for the next loan from the bank. But if we do take equity, it is always to pay another bill, okay? Always to pay another bill. When we take that equity, like we're taking equity out of 2 properties right now, it's to pay down revolving credit lines that we've bought properties with and didn't pay off, just kind of been doing. We want to get all that debt is taken on. Now, I'll give you an example. Our Kermit property is rented for $2,500 a month. We're leveraged at $109,000 on it, but we picked up $25,000 tax-free in that refi. We feel very comfortable that $2,500 a month that it's rented for is more than enough to service that debt. Okay, so we took that equity out and we paid off a credit line with it. That credit line will now give us the ability to go buy another property and then pay it down, go buy another property and pay it down. So it's just, how do you run your business? Is it structured to go get more debt? Is it structured for whatever? Now, would I take that equity out and go buy a fucking jet ski? I'm not 22. No, I don't need a fucking jet ski. So I'm not going to buy a jet ski with that equity. I'm not going to go to the bar and fucking pop bottles with that equity. I'm not going to do Ryan Jackson and go out so I can get a cool plate pick of $100 meal with that equity.
Well,
I've seen it.
He likes Del Frisco's.
Oh, we're talking about Ryan Jackson now. Yeah, I'm not Ryan Jackson. I'm not gonna pull that equity to go to Del Frisco's and ball it up. Actually, Ryan's one of the tightest people I know. He's like,
and he's a savant when it comes to numbers. So shout out to him.
Like Ryan is very tight whenever it comes to money.
So we don't want to make this the old boys club here, because that's what we keep talking about people. But to talk about the owner finance thing a little more, so I stumbled into it. I went and saw, I read Mitch Stevens' book and saw him at this deal, and I came home and started telling Kyle Garner, which is a guy that also does my position, but works with us. I told him, like, dude, you can make offers for 0 down. Like, I didn't know that until Mitch Stevens told me that. And it turns out you can do 0 interest too. I also saw Danny Diaz talk about it on, I think it was here on Roughneck.
It was on Propelio.
So I was like, holy shit, I can do that? I told Kyle about it, and before I could even try it, he had like a deal done. Like he went, because he is a machine. He's just like,
he'll offer anything.
Yeah, he will literally.
He'll offer anything.
$12.
But RMLO I think stands for, what is it? Registered Mortgage Loan Originator, something along those lines. It's a mortgage person. It's just a license that you got to be able to loan money. So if you're RMLO, you can work for a mortgage company, or you can own or finance your own deals. After you do 3, according to the SAFE Act, 5 according to Dodd-Frank. So it really depends on which law you qualify under, on how the deal's structured. Again, like when I was heavy into this, I could quote that stuff off the top of my head. Now I don't really keep up with it as much. So Grant Kemp's somebody to reach out to. So our tax lien property is a good way to begin building your rentals. When you buy a tax lien property, can you buy the redemption period from the owner? Peter Riaz, those are great questions. I've read all about that. I will tell you this. I buy tax lien properties. They are not in the city limits. Here's why. When you buy a tax lien foreclosure, the government liens can still remain. So you can have weed liens. You can have mechanical liens for tearing down houses. You can have all these liens that still remain. So you buy a property thinking it's going to wipe all the liens out, and it ends up not doing that. That's in the city. Out in the country, nobody is mowing the grass. Nobody is tearing down houses. Nobody is doing any of that stuff. So we stick to buying tax sale properties out in the country. The redemption period. I talk about tax sale properties a lot because people always want to go through the extra step of trying to find the owners before it goes to auction, which is a great step until you find this out. Most tax foreclosures are because there's not clear title, because mom and dad died, they had 76 kids, no will, then all the kids started dying, now they're grandkids. Now you got to get 140 people to sign a deed. The white trash of the family's like, bro, I'll take $6, just give me a pack of
they're like $43,000.
And then the other brother that's like not as sophisticated but think he knows numbers is like, that's $1 million property. Pawpaw knows there's a gold deal in the back. If you dig down 6 feet, you'll find his can of pennies from 47 and all this. And it's a time vampire. So I find it's easiest to go bid on them because they always sell cheap. Now up here in the Metroplex and in the big areas, what you end up with is a lot of competition and a lot of people that understand it.
And a lot of people that are buying them that don't understand it.
And a lot of people that are buying it that don't understand it.
Just go to the auction. Don't go to the auction to buy the first time. Go to the auction a couple times and watch.
That's actually where I got my start in real estate, was at a tax auction. It was great. I love watching the fireworks. I learned so much. It's where I got my strategy. We bought a $2,100 lake lot that we turned around and owner finance for $50,000. I've sold these properties before the redemption period was up and just got the attorney to fill out a disclosure that they could be redeemed, and we're not giving them their money back. Now I don't know how that would hold up in court, but I've done it. I did it out of that auction. I sold some property for $10,000. Told the people, look, you take it, but if they redeem it, we don't give a shit. That $10,000 is ours. You're just out of a property. As far as contacting the owners to buy the redemption period, it's the same rabbit hole as going to them before. You're going to end up with multiple owners. You have to get everybody that has a stake in that property to sell their redemption rights. Oftentimes, you're just better off waiting the 6 month or the 2 years. It's 2 years if it's a homestead or if it's ag exempt. Those are two things that you should know before you even bid on that property. Is it homestead or ag exempt? To know if you're at a 2-year redemption period or a 6 month redemption period. The other thing is, we found this out with Jason McDougall's deal in Groesbeck. The lady bought it at a tax auction. auction. She's selling it to McDougal for $26,000. The title finds an attached lien. She bought it at the tax auction. There was still I think it was a Medicare lien or something along those lines attached to the property.
A MERP lien?
Something. And we're like, well, how can that be? You know, it went through the tax foreclosure. It wipes out all liens. It does if proper notice is given to all lien holders. If proper notice isn't given, then they can come back and reattach their lien, which is exactly what they did. They came back, they reattached the lien, and that had to be paid out of closing. And there's no title insurance on that. So if you buy it and they didn't send out proper notice to all the lien holders, which I don't even know how you find out that information, they can come back and reattach their lien and get their money later. So those are all the risks that I know about in the tax sale land, all from real experience, none of it from shit I've heard other people do. But that is what I know about it, everything, top to bottom. Chris Chavez, the city attorney handling the tax foreclosure, does their best to add all liens, even their personal credit card and card debt. So they do, but sometimes they miss it.
I just want to throw it out there too. There's a difference between a tax lien sale and seeing something that's being foreclosed on that has IRS liens on it. And sometimes people get confused with those. It's two totally different animals.
Two totally different animals. A tax sale lien for property taxes is like a super lien. It jumps in front of first lien position. It jumps in front of the IRS. It jumps in front of all that stuff. I'm really gray and fuzzy on these, so if I'm wrong, please consult an attorney. But an IRS lien, let's say an IRS lien attaches to a property and it goes through the foreclosure process. They have, I believe, a 4-month right of redemption. I believe it's 120 days. They have to pay you 6% interest over that course of time, and it's a 120-day right of redemption. But if they don't, and you serve them proper notice, and the person that's foreclosing serves them proper notice, then that lien's wiped out too. Know that, because if you're going to the foreclosure auction, you want to know what lien position you're buying in the first place. You don't want to go to a foreclosure auction and be bidding on a second lien foreclosure and you've got to pay off first lien. You don't want to end up in that situation. So you want to do your own title search. You want to figure out how to do that. Texas records, I believe, Texas file records, whatever it is.
Texas land records.
Texas land records. But the last couple of times I've gone in to do my own title searches, I haven't been able to.
Well, so I do these all the time. Texas land, not everything is required to be put online.
Correct.
So sometimes people just don't file it to be put online. And not every county uses Texas land records.
But you just want to make sure that on that deed of trust, you want to read the deed of trust. If there's an appointment substitute trustee, it's going to reference a deed of trust. Go read that deed of trust. It will tell you what liens are on there. If it's got any leads in front of it, it will list them out on there. Do not mess up and buy a second lien position. The other thing is what you were saying about the IRS liens. Don't be afraid to buy a property that IRS is behind you. It will wipe it out if they don't come back and redeem it. Now, understand that before you go pour a bunch of money into that property, because IRS does. If they come back and redeem it, I don't believe they have to pay you back for your repairs. I don't know that wholeheartedly. You need to talk to somebody that's done it before. But if they do, then fuck it. Go put gold fucking cabinets in it, because they're going to pay you back plus 6%. If they don't, then whatever. That's the other thing on the tax sale. I hear this all the time. People are like, well, they have to pay you back 25% and improvement. And no, they have to pay you 25% and what you do to secure the property. What does that definition mean? I don't know. Can you put a door on it? Can you board up windows? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if, because I've never had one redeemed. I don't know if I can go put up a big fence around my 50 acres that I just bought at the tax sale.
High
game fence, and say, oh, well, I was securing it. I was trying to keep people out. Y'all owe me that 25% too. I don't know. You really, really, really need to be careful and considerate whenever you're doing these things, because it's your capital that's at risk. If it's not your capital, you need to be even more considerate.
So we were at a meetup a couple months ago, Texas Tuesday meetup that happens, which happens on Texas Tuesday. We happened to have a lawyer speaking that day, and he came in and told us that he had gotten the call that day. Somebody had bought a house at the auction cash. By the time they got there, it was burned to the ground. Was it arson? None of us know, but it was burned to the ground, and they were out all that cash. So there's risk in these things, and you have to. I mean, there's no recourse for that.
Right, no recourse whatsoever. And well, other than the person that burned it down is probably going to prison.
Absolutely.
But your money is not, the bank ain't going to give you your money back because the asset got burned
Somebody
down.
was big mad.
Somebody was big mad. That's whatever. But these are the things you need to know. If you're liking what you're seeing, give us some love, likes, shares, eggplants. Please give us an eggplant. For every eggplant you send, I'll get Jawad to slide in your DMs with the real thing. So that will help you out.
Oh, shout out
what
to
other
Josh.
questions? Josh Young, I like how you fellas are. Thanks for the information, bro. We appreciate y'all being here.
Thanks,
we
Josh.
appreciate all love and support. We appreciate Propelio for having this. When Ryan Harper reached out to me, he said, I need to be organized. I'm trying my best to be a little bit more professional, be a little bit more ready. But the next time I come in, they've informed me that if I get a fancy iPad, we can do some things. So
he
I'm
also
gonna have
shouted
an iPad.
at us like 10 times before this, take this serious.
He did.
He did. He was like, you take this serious.
We got to take this serious.
No
I had a
joking.
really good intro with Rich Dad, Poor Dad planned. I didn't get to
I
do
wanted
it.
to read Think and Grow Rich for the next hour.
I want to hear Jason read it because I think he can't pronounce half the words in there.
Probably not.
So, Pat Hilton, great info, people. This isn't a fake guru testimonial. No, sir. I want to give a shout out to Pat Hilton. Pat Hilton's been helping me out with my Instagram. He's been helping me out with my Facebook. He wrote the motherfucker mobile home song. If y'all haven't heard it, Ryan Harper actually made it into a ringtone, which is pretty cool. So if you want that ringtone, I'll give you my phone number. When I call you, the motherfucker mobile home songs will play. If y'all need any of that help, reach out to Pat Hilton. He's a really cool dude. He's out from San Diego. He came out here to play for Propelio at the events. He's got some really, really good songs. The remix he did from To the Windows, To the Walls was really good.
Nice
I
little
don't know if it's appropriate, but
Probably
it was,
not.
It was really good. He did it on a Facebook Live here at Propelio. So Jacob Cap, also look for ETAL after the ownership name, maybe a cluster of family members attached to that deal. Jacob, thanks for putting that in there. I never know what that means whenever I see it. I always assume that though, because that's a problem I run into. Thanks for clarifying that. Really appreciate it.
So that's interesting. I've never thought about that. So there's Etux, et al., and there's another one.
Yes,
that you see up all the time.
But I don't know which one that is.
One is with husband, one's with wife, et al., or something else.
So, Jonathan, Mr. Ho's back on. Who's Crystal Metheny and where can I find her?
Oh, man.
Oh, well.
We can give you 1,000 addresses.
Crystal is strong out there in Joshua. Where was it that you went that they had ate the walls down and wanted $100,000 for that trailer
Not
house?
ate. Well, they didn't eat them. That was in Joshua. That
was in Joshua.
They informed me that they had removed the walls. They had informed me that they showed me the bathtub where they'd put the bathtub back into a room and were taking showers with no walls around that. But they wanted $26,000 to get their debt paid off on that. And they were very insistent about it. And I'm pretty sure they were cooking meth in the semi-cab that was in the front yard. Just a guess. Because there was lots of padlocks on the door, and the dude was standing in front of it.
Nobody knows what a semi-cab is but me. Please explain what a semi-cab is.
No, it's a sleeper cab. They took a sleeper cab off the back of a semi, 18-wheeler, and they had all these padlocks on it, and a dude was standing in front of it the whole time. I just knew I didn't want to be there. I was calling Katie Apperson, who was supposed to meet me, like, do not come. Texting her, don't come to this place. If I don't make it home, tell my wife I love her. Like, that's the kind of place it was.
Oh, but
I went into one right before that where the dude wanted to tell me why he took the flooring out, because flooring was heavy and drywall was heavy and he didn't like heavy. And he would literally just walk through the house, see, I can look under here to see what's going on any time of the day or night.
Well, those are the kind of deals we look at. Now, obviously we didn't buy that. Did we buy that?
No,
I hope we didn't buy that.
No, it was bad.
Okay, cool. We didn't buy that.
$2,000 trailer.
Now, what I want to talk to you about, I ripped Jason's rear end off over this. Not really ripped in. It was
Well,
like
you rip them into me at least once a week.
At least
maybe
once a
three
week,
times.
which is why I don't take paid coaching, because they'd all quit. But anyways, Jason had went and looked at a deal. We haven't closed on it yet, so it's really.
It's in Weatherford.
It's in Weatherford. So he goes and looks at this deal. It's in a little bitty town of Weatherford that nobody knows where it's at. Now, the guy had been trying to wholesale it. Jason gets there and looks at it and says, look, I really don't want to lose y'all's money, which I was telling him, like, hey, bro, don't worry about my money. You got to eat. You got to lock this deal down. This is all we got in our pipeline, so get something done on it. Like, run the numbers. Now, I still remember the numbers.
He didn't say any of it exactly like that.
None of it exactly
like that. It was
more
like, hey, you piece of shit, get this done.
I don't think I called you a piece of shit.
There was a good talking to involved in it.
I think what I said was, why do you care? It's my
your
money.
Right.
Why do you care? Why are you worried about my money?
But that's a natural thing.
It is a natural thing. And I wasn't that hard on you. But I told him, I said, look, Jason, go back and contract it okay? Go back and contract it because you went to the class. What does that thing have to appraise for? What does it have to appraise for you to make a buck and me to make a buck?
So this is how much I know Corey now. Like I spend more time with Corey than my wife some days. My son every morning tells me the last thing out of his mouth when I leave is, "Tell Mr. Corey I said hi," which makes me wonder if you're stopping by the house when I'm not there. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. But I told the guy, I was like, "Hey, Corey's not giving me an answer, so I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit." He was there with me still. I was just waiting on you to call and yell at me. And then the whole time he's yelling at me, I'm like, it's cool, man. Just hold on, hold on. And we got to it, and then I shook his hand over the deal. So
right, so what,
I didn't have to go back.
He didn't have to go back. But what I told him was this: you went to the class. What does this deal, like right now, if we buy it for the price that he wants, what does this have to appraise for to where we have $0 in it? Now, this is what I want you to understand about the owner finance backstop. And so at this deal, we're buying it for what, $55,000?
55.
So 55. It was $62,000 that it would have to appraise for.
And to get that, you just multiply whatever your number is times 1.25. That'll give you the 80% factor. So $68,750
is what it would have to appraise for us to get all our money out of it. Now, what did I ask you next? In this town, what's the worst comp you could find?
Yes, which by the way, my comps weren't that great that day, so I'm glad it worked out. I think I had a 115. 115
was the worst comp you could find. Similar size, similar year model, similar everything. In this town, worst comp you could find was 115. Now this is the lesson. This is the lesson. I was being hard on Jason, but there's a lesson there. Where do appraisers get their values?
This is a really good lesson. It's from sold comps.
It's from sold comps. So how is he going to comp this thing if the worst one you could find, crystal methany's bombed it out, everything is wrong with it, is 115 in the last 2 years because you were using who to look up these comps?
On this one, I was using Propelio.
There you go. No lie.
So but this is a huge lesson. Like it was like a big moment for me to understand that they pull their comps from sold comps. Like I had no idea where appraisers get their stuff. And that's one of the reasons I'd been so trying to guard Corey's money. Like I'm like, fuck, that's probably a...
So we're sold comp. Now, the good thing about Propelio is you can look at the pictures. So you can go in and look and see, oh shit, it's got holes in the sheetrock. It's a real pile of work.
And that's a great tool when you're buying from people too. I use it all the time. I set it down right in front of them, plug my phone in, and I'm like, yeah, your house probably isn't more, you don't have granite like this person. You don't have a wall there or walls. Right. But this person has walls. I use that all the time in front of people. I just set my big ass laptop up.
Look, you can clearly see they're watching TV in this picture. All their electrical's in.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to discount that. It's $17,000 to rewire this house. I'm an electrician, I should know. But all of that being said, so when I'm ripping them, I'm like, how are they gonna get this appraisal? If the lowest comp is $115,000, how are they gonna appraise this for less than $68,000? They're gonna have to go to land, and this isn't land, it's a house, okay? Long story short, we buy this house, okay? We close on it. We took a hard money loan for $70,000 against it. We put it on MLS, offering owner finance, but the price is gonna be way higher, or actually, we put it out there offering owner finance for $114,900 in 1 day, get a full price cash offer in 1 day.
And this is another lesson I've learned from Corey time and again. So I started to get second guessing the other day, and I in the conversation we were having between me and Whitney and Katie, I said, you know what, I'm not going to bet against Corey because he always rolls sevens on this deal. You know, like so this is a note to take out of this. He always puts what I would assume is a crazy ass price on these properties because I'm not as knowledgeable as him. I can't run these numbers, and he almost always gets an offer for a crazy ass price that I would have never thought would happen.
And Whitley, the newbie, taught me today that I'm underselling myself. Like Whitley doubled what I expected a property to get for. So it's not, every day is a learning curve, and I'll touch on that a little bit. We closed on an apartment complex, biggest deal we ever done, assuming that we could maybe rent apartments for close to $900 a month. Maybe, possibly. But we had no way to test that market. We looked at the areas, assumed that maybe we could. Now, if we can lease those apartments for $900 a month, this is the power of scale. We add $1 million in value to that property. If we can't, we bought it for way too much money, okay? So in that, what we ended up with is We put our first apartment out at least in a day for $850. The next one, we're going to test the top of the market and put it out for $950 and see if we can get one for $950. And we made literally $800,000 in one day. We're sending out all the rents going up notices right now because of how fast that apartment leased. Now, there was something on the screen to the right I think I was supposed to read.
So one, we've only gotten 16 shares, and that's just not acceptable. We really need y'all's help here because we can't be beat by RJ Bates. That's ridiculous. We can't be beat by him. 2, Corey has offered me $500 to show my legs later because they're the widest legs alive. If we get, what do we need, Ryan? 50 shares?
You're going to have to pull your pants down.
All of the shares. Now, I'm not pulling my pants down, but I'll show you all the widest legs possible.
You just turn them around. We want to see a little ass in there.
I'm not even showing you my ass.
A lot of ass. Come on.
It's a lot, but I'm not doing that.
You got to pull your pants. You're not rolling those skinny jeans up, son.
Well, these didn't used to be skinny jeans, but the
ain't happening.
I'm just saying, you get
I'm
some
gonna get
shares,
my pocket knife and cut
maybe
one
you'll
off.
see some leg. That's what I'm saying.
I think it was $200 plus. I think
Yeah, I was trying to raise that up, but it's on tape now. It's definitely $500.
Solid maybe. But anyways, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we want more questions. We want more likes. We want more shares. I want to know what deal you want to know about. Y'all have all been watching for a little while. If you got a question about a past deal, if you want me to talk about the economy of scale, if you want me to help you plan out your business, I want to help. We'll be back right after this. We're back. Jason, you were telling us about how your sister used to beat you with a cane. Dive further into that.
She did. So that's never happened. But she did lay me out with a clock radio one time. Turns out if you wing one of those by the cord, you can get a lot of movement on that thing.
That's impressive. That's impressive. That's probably why there's no hair on your legs.
Yes.
So Chris Chavez posted on Wholesaling Elite. Thanks for the share. We appreciate it. Jeremiah McMahon, I'm bad at last names, but me and him spoke on the phone. So, would you rather live with Crystal or the hot mom Sniffany? Definitely the hot mom Sniffany. Definitely the hot mom Sniffany. Jason, you?
I would rather live with my wife and kids.
Solid answer. Solid answer. Jacob Cat. Okay, he put up some. Oh,
there it is. Et al. Ali is a masculine plural. Et alea is the feminine plural. So
it's a Latin thing.
It's a Latin thing.
That'd be
Thank
Latin.
you for that. I mean, I'm so cultured now. Let's see.
It's good stuff,
Schlapper says, wait, is Jason watching this on Facebook Live while being on it? Yes, he wants to do that. He was trying to figure out.
Oh, hey, my kids were watching on the
How?
big TV. Facebook
What?
on the 65-inch. Yeah, we
Dude.
put Ryan on there the other night.
Jason,
He's not here.
you're a movie star.
I know. I told him my daddy was going to be on TV.
Emery thought I was on TV the other day too, but it turns out it was just my phone. We don't own a TV, so she thinks the phones are our TV. Cute story, but I'll take a TV if somebody will give me one.
It's obvious you don't have a TV, you don't know what you're talking about, because we hear that all the time, right?
Peter Reyes, when you buy a home for $50K and owner finance it for $75K, is the $25K taxable for that year? I'm interested in owner finance. I just want to get hit hard at the end of the year when we have to pay taxes. Thanks for the info. Okay, I'm not a CPA. I do not know the proper answer to that question. I've read it both ways. I just know that it's unrealized gain. Our CPA doesn't make us pay taxes on it, but you'll need to consult your CPA on that and find out the real answer. I was talking with Ryan Jackson's aunt about it. She was telling me a completely different answer that made me a little nervous too, but up until now, we haven't had any problems yet, but it's unrealized gain, so typically it's not taxed. Oh, dang. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think
gigs for sure.
That's
aggressive. That's aggressive.
I'm not even going to comment.
So what other questions we got? What deal do you want to hear me break down? What What have you seen? What do you want to see more of? How can we improve? Roughneck to Real Estate, the Facebook group. I know a lot of our loyal Facebook groupers are probably watching. I'm hoping that the landlord porn comes in that we're always joking about.
I'm going to start a personal support group for people that are abused by Corey Thompson. So look, I'll be there. I'll be there with some of the people.
Yeah, Jason is definitely going to be there for sure. You know, Kyle Garner used to hang out with us a lot, but Kyle got rich. I've got to keep saying that until Kyle starts hanging out with us some more. Kyle got rich and he doesn't hang out with us anymore. So, Kyle,
he couldn't take the abuse.
Nah, he was the best at the abuse. Kyle is a really good hand, but he won't hang out with us because he's rich now.
So, look, I'm as new as they come. Like literally, I don't know my head from a hole in the ground most days. Are there any other noobs out there that are lurking on this deal that want to ask some questions? Because now's your chance. Yeah,
give us a shout out to who's watching. What do you want to see on the show moving forward? I'm always going to have a guest. I want to have some newbies in. I want to solve problems. Some of these deals I'm going to come up here, since we're doing it at 7, I'm going to come up here and drop live marketing and have a new person run through it. Because everybody thinks they want ringless voicemail. That's what RVM stands for. Somebody asked earlier in the show. Jason, what do you think about taking live calls on RVM?
Oh, I'll do it. It won't be pretty.
Is it mental abuse or is it fun?
Well, it depends if the death threats are coming in or not. Sometimes it's fun.
The bacon foreclosure was a good one. Have you listened to the divorce list we dropped the other day?
No, we talked about this yesterday. I failed, but I haven't listened.
Well, I've listened to some of them. They're not all bad, but the 47 calls from the anonymous number, one after one after one after one, and then left a voicemail that was calm as can be. I said, "Yeah, bro, call me back. I think that guy's going to murder me."
Well, we've had death threats before. It won't be the first time. We have one recorded that's really good.
Oh, dude, did y'all listen to the podcast I did with the Driving for Dollars app guy, Tucker? It's called the Real Deals Podcast. The owner of Driving for Dollars app made it. The intro to that is one of the angriest calls I've ever heard in my entire life. If you don't even have to listen to my bullshit part of the podcast, please, 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 please go listen to the beginning part of that podcast. It is absolute gold. And if y'all aren't familiar with the Driving for Dollars app, please go check it out. It's a really good app. Names listed. Jawad, thanks for watching. Mark Boyd, Kyle Garner, Dusty, Nathan Slapper, Gino, Brian Rockwell, Sean Robertson, Casey, Kaylee, we all love y'all. Jason Cap, Chris Chavez, Jay Coleman. Guys, these are all my really, really close homies. Corey, is the check from the title company from the title of HUD, or do we need to actually post a breakdown where the money is going? Not a guru, not a guru. I don't care. Look, the whole guru thing is really, really overblown. I don't think a lot of people understand I'm an internet troll, so they get really, really in their feelings, and that is the worst thing to do to an internet troll. We'll pile on.
I never troll anybody, especially I do like to troll Ryan Harper when he's doing his live broadcast.
Well, I do too. Like some of the early ones were really fun. Now I don't do it because when there was nobody watching, y'all should go back and watch those videos and read the comments.
If you want to see the most awkward video ever, watch the one of me with Daniel Moore learning how to use his spreadsheet. It was really bad.
Dude, when at the very beginning of this, when Facebook Live wasn't a real thing and they just got it used to be the same 5 of us on there all the time anyways. So there's some really colorful comments in there. Y'all should go back and watch all the videos and look at the comments before Ryan goes and deletes them because I just put them on blast. Speed round on questions and then we're going to wrap it up. Let's go. What we got here? What do we got?
Who's the troll? Nathan Slapper is, for sure.
Oh, Lord.
He's the king of trolls.
How do you start a new mobile home park, or does that not work to put the mobile homes on land and rent it out? Okay, so I'm going to break this down. I'm going to make it real short and sweet. We've done it every way possible. Our mobile home park in Groesbeck was really good because we were able to use one contractor for the electrical, for the AC, for the plumbing, because out in the country, our contractor can do all that work, so we were able to get those costs really, really cheap. At that moment in time, to move one, porch it, plumb it, skirt it, was taking about $6,000. Understand that, $6,000. In Fort Worth, when we use licensed AC people, licensed everybody, it was taking around $25,000 per home to do all that work. And we had to update the electrical. We had to do so much to that. But understand this. When you start building a mobile home park from scratch, density is what matters. You can set them homes 10 foot apart in most areas, but you've got to get plumbing, you've got to get electrical, you've got to get ACs and all that stuff to those homes. If you go buy the bottom bitch 66 foot by 14 foot home from Clayton Homes, it's going to be $40,000 dropped on the ground, and you're going to be responsible for the plumbing, electrical, and all of that stuff. So understand, if the sewer ain't in the ground, if the electrical ain't already in the ground, if what else is there? Gas ain't already in the ground. If all that stuff isn't already there and you're having to put it up, it really flips the numbers upside down. If you've got less than $10,000 per space into that, I think it's feasible, but I wouldn't do it myself. Currently, we're buying brand new homes for our South Texas park. We're getting all those homes really discounted because we bought some FEMA homes from the dealer. We're going to put 10 new homes in for $400,000, right at $40,000 a piece. That's plumbed. That's everything all together put in. So
what's his question though? What can you start a new park? Because that's different.
You can start a new park, but here's the deal: if you're doing used homes, it gets a little bit easier, but not really, because you have to get the electrical up to code in that house, and you don't know if it is or not unless you're an electrician. You have to get the plumbing up and go. We bought a house for $5,000, thought we stole the world. Our plumbing bill to replumb it was $6,600. Okay, the plumbing just wasn't there. I didn't look at the deal before. I wouldn't have noticed it if I did look at it. And it was a $5,000 mobile home, so I felt like I couldn't lose. By the time it made the trip from where it was going to where it got, it didn't have any siding left on it. So we had to re-side the whole damn thing. You look at these deals and you really think you know what you're doing, but at the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, I didn't, that deal is a little floppy now, but we only have about 34 in it as it sits, and it's renting for $1,000 a month. Do I feel bad about that investment? No, I don't feel bad about that investment. I also think the lesson that I learned on that is huge, because that park's worth about $1.4 million as it sits. We've got less than $540,000 in it. So I don't feel bad about everything that happened on that park. I feel very valuable that we learned those lessons on that park. Now I don't want to build a new mobile home park. I only want to buy distressed and get the rents up to market rate. So I want to know what y'all want on the future shows. I want to know what guests you want to see on here. I want feedback. This has been really fun. Jason.
They want to see more of me.
Are we having dinner? Are you allowed?
Oh, Jesus, I don't know.
I want to put this on.
The question is, how many shares do we get?
Yeah, are we showing some leg at the end of this? Maybe a little ass cheek?
Or maybe we'll show it next time.
What's the legal amount of ass cheek you can show on a Facebook Live?
So it's all of it. But
no, you can't. They will shut it down.
2 shares? 22. Is that enough?
We got 22?
How many? See some leg?
Yeah, it's enough for me to see some leg, but you got to take your pants down.
I'm not taking my pants down.
Somebody's got to come in here and run a camera and zoom in on this.
Wrap it up.
We're wrapping it up with a zoom in on this leg. Which one of these cameras? How do you zoom?
Some leg here. Look how white those are.
They ain't got no hair on them. Why do they not have hair? This man's the hairiest guy. No, he don't have any hair on there. So,
all right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. We're wrapping up. One more message from our sponsors, and we're out of here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Tell us what you want on future shows.